here at the 2013 fabulous Menlo Charity Horse Show, and I have the pleasure of meeting with the chief judge, Adrian, who he and his team actually do more than the judging. You've actually put this whole part of the program together with all the jumps, or most of it. Is that a fair statement?
I wouldn't go quite that far that we do all of it. We try and do our part. Obviously, any successful horse show is a team effort. We bring some of the equipment. A lot of this equipment obviously is generated by sponsors, and they have what they're called specialty jumps, which are very popular here. But it's sort of a concerted team effort to bring all the equipment to the horse show to make it work.
You're being modest, I think, but that's fine. I think the most important thing, though, Adrian, is to understand the variety of rules that go into judging and judging effectively, and you seem to be a master at it. I've watched you for several days here, just going one event after another. Some of them are different. Could you give us maybe a highlight of a couple of the key type events and how they're judged? And when you say faults, what does that mean?
Certainly. Jumpers, as opposed to hunters. Hunters tend to be a bit more subjective. Jumpers are entirely based on faults and time, purely objective. A comparison you'll hear often is the hunters are compared to the figure skaters, whereas the jumpers are compared to the downhill skiers. Basically, the way it works in most of the classes is the rider that gets around with the fewest number of faults and the fastest time is declared the winner. There's really no room for subjectivity in that. Obviously, with a lot of special events that they have here at the Menlo Charity Horse Show, there's nuances to each of the classes. For instance, tonight we have what's called a Take Your Own Line, where riders get to determine the course that they want to jump. They are going to attempt to pick the most efficient way around the course, whereas in most jumper classes, the course is determined. And if you go off course, in fact, you're eliminated. But tonight is an entirely different set of rules, but it's still based on time and faults. And that's basically what it boils down to in jumpers.
It really turns into the rider figuring out how their animal and what their course is going to be best suited to do, correct?
Certainly for tonight, that is correct, yes. But as you know, Mr. Michael Roy Curtis has been doing courses here for years. He does a great job, and for the vast majority of the jumper classes, the course is predetermined, and they have to jump the obstacles in the manner in which it was intended.
Okay, give us a little bit about what are the faults
Well, the major faults are if you knock down a rail, it is typically 4 faults. However, tonight, as I said, is a little bit different. If you knock down a rail, you're not penalized faults, you're penalized seconds. So in theory, a horse that goes around the track very, very quickly but knocks down 2 rails could still win because they will only be penalized 8 seconds for the 2 rails. And in theory, their time could be faster than the rest of the field. For most of the jumper classes, 2 rails would mean 8 jumping faults, and then they would place behind any horses with 4 faults or clear rounds. So rails, typically 4 faults, every now and then 4 seconds. Some of the other major penalties are refusals, or what are called disobediences. That's when a horse refuses to jump a jump. That is penalized by 4 faults as well. A second refusal anywhere on course is generally penalized by elimination. You have other things, like I mentioned earlier, going off course is elimination. If you have an open water, a foot in the water can be 4 jumping faults as well. There's probably several I'm missing, but that's the basic.
But those are the basics. You mentioned to me earlier there's quite a litany of distinctions on some of the different types of events. But this is a nice, clear perspective on how people can get to understand this fabulous sport, because it's so enjoyable to watch. And we really thank you for being so active here and so helpful in every facet of this, because we got stuff with you working with your shirt off, and then you're up here very, very handsome, working on judging the people so that everybody gets a fair shake. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your kind words, and it's always a pleasure to be part of such a great event, so thank you.
Thank you.
our blue ribbon here, and the 7 and 8-year-old jumpers will go to number 34, Ravello, and Guy Thomas. Guy with a great ride, clear in a time of 38.610. Taking the red ribbon today, also Guy Thomas aboard Quinca LS, owned by Danielle Lambert. So Guy taking the red ribbon and the blue ribbon as well. Third place will go to number 112, Valentino B, Daniel Thea riding for Branson Farms. In fourth place was entry number 32, Adamas, another entry shown by Guy Thomas, this time for Pinnacle Equine Group. Fifth place to number 103, Miss Blue, and Carl Ardalon. Sixth place to number 116, Venice B, Daniel Thea riding. And our seventh place ribbon is number 312, Blackjack, Angel Humphrey.
Today, Sotheby's International Realty, bringing new technology to a 200-year-old tradition while serving the San Francisco Peninsula, Silicon Valley, and clientele worldwide.